The lecture hall of the Galactic Military Academy was packed with cadets from more than 100 worlds. The room hummed with anticipation as Commander Vorth, a decorated veteran of 3 interstellar wars, stood before a massive holographic display. Today's lesson was titled, How to Neutralize a Human Combatant. The image of a human appeared above the stage. Murmurs spread through the audience. Humans were relatively new members of the Galactic Union, and many species still considered them strange, primitive creatures from a dangerous death world. Commander Vorth folded his arms. Humans possess impressive endurance, but they are biologically fragile. Their internal organs are vulnerable. Their bones can break. Their skin tears easily. If confronted with a human soldier, target the chest, limbs, or head. A sufficiently powerful strike will incapacitate them. Several cadets took notes. In the back row sat a single human exchange student named Ethan Ward. He listened quietly without interrupting. The commander continued. Humans rely heavily on emotional responses. Fear, pain, and psychological pressure are effective tools. If isolated from allies and subjected to overwhelming force, they become significantly less dangerous. The hologram displayed various attack simulations. Many cadets nodded. A reptilian student raised a claw. So if we follow these procedures, a human opponent can be eliminated reliably? Correct, Vorth replied confidently. Another student asked, have these methods been tested extensively? Based on biological analysis and combat records, yes. Ethan glanced around the room. Nobody seemed convinced enough to question the lesson. The lecture continued for another hour. Charts appeared. Statistics were presented. Theoretical weaknesses were discussed in great detail. Throughout the entire presentation, Ethan remained silent. Finally, the commander ended the lesson. That concludes today's instruction. Any questions? Ethan slowly raised his hand. The room turned toward him. Commander Vorth nodded. Yes, Cadet Ward? Ethan stood. With respect, Commander, everything you taught today is technically correct. The commander smiled. I'm pleased to hear that. Ethan shook his head. The problem is that none of it explains how to actually kill a human. Confused whispers filled the hall. Vorth frowned. Clarify your statement. Ethan walked toward the center of the room. You explained how human bodies work. You explained how they can be injured. That's not the same thing as stopping them. The hologram shifted to display a battlefield image. Ethan pointed toward it. A human with broken ribs may continue fighting. Another image appeared. A human with a shattered arm may continue fighting. Another. A human suffering severe blood loss may continue fighting. The room fell silent. History is filled with humans accomplishing impossible tasks after receiving injuries that should have ended the fight immediately. Commander Vorth crossed his arms. Exceptional cases. Not as exceptional as you think. Ethan activated his tablet. Dozens of military records appeared above the stage. Human soldiers continuing missions despite catastrophic wounds. Rescue crews operating for days without sleep. Explorers surviving environments considered unsurvivable by galactic standards. The cadets stared at the evidence. Ethan continued. You taught them where to strike. That's useful. But if they ever face a human in battle, they'll discover something important. And what is that? Asked Vorth. Ethan smiled slightly. Humans don't stop when they're supposed to. The room remained completely still. A human can be afraid and still advance. A human can be injured and still fight. A human can know they're losing and still refuse to quit. The commander's confidence began to fade. Ethan looked across the audience. If you truly want to defeat a human, don't focus on our bodies. Every species has weak bodies. Then what should they focus on? A cadet asked. Ethan's expression became serious. Hope. The word echoed through the hall. A human becomes dangerous when they believe something is worth protecting. Family. Friends. Home. Duty. Give a human a reason to keep going, and you'll discover that biology stops being the deciding factor. No one spoke. After several long seconds, Commander Vorth slowly nodded. For the first time during the lecture, he looked uncertain. Perhaps, he admitted, that should have been today's lesson. Ethan sat back down. The Academy's records would later list the session as a study of human combat psychology. The cadets remembered it differently. It was the day an entire classroom learned that understanding how a human could die was far easier than understanding why a human refused to.